return. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio, and we have our celebrity with us. We have Daniel Turner. Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Beth Ann. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'll tell you what, I was so honored and so surprised when I saw you on Tucker Carlson last night. And I was telling the listening audience, I said I was sitting there in the kitchen eating my supper, and you come on, and I drop my fork, and I go, oh my gosh, look, there's my man. And my husband kind of looks at me. I go, there's my man, Daniel Turner. He won't hit you, though, I promise. He won't.
Oh, good. No, it was a great opportunity, and I'm always happy to have the chance to share the message of what Power of the Future is all about. And I've told you many times after, especially when I called on your 2000th anniversary, you've been a huge part of that. You've given me my very first platform, and you've been with me the whole time. So I'll always be grateful to you.
We plan to stay with you. I just had I've got to share this. I got to pat myself on the back just a little bit. Actually, it was a caller that I just had in the last segment from New York, and he told the producer when he was hanging up, he says, national radio is like fast food. He said, Beth Ann's show is like a home-cooked meal.
I love that.
I think he might be hungry. I don't know. But, I do feel that way. I'm everybody. When everybody asks me who I am, I say, I'm you. That's where we are. And you wanted a voice of rural America, and this is the voice of rural America. So I really appreciate you.
100%. It is the voice of rural America, and their voice is shrinking, right? That's kind of the point I was making last night on Tucker's show, and that I've made before, is that, we are getting so far removed. America is getting so far removed from the people who produce our food and produce our energy and fight our wars and manufacturing. We flip-flopped. Most of our nation's history, we were a rural community, a rural country with some people in the cities, and now we're an urban country with some people in the rural communities. And the more we get that distance from the means of our production and the means of our food, the easier it is for people like Representative Ocasio-Cortez to make laws about them and about their land and about their rights and how they should function in society, because they're so far removed, and we've got to fight for that.
You're a New Yorker, and one thing that struck me, and when somebody lies to you, you have to stop and think, why are they lying? And when she was running for representative, she lied about where she grew up. And why would somebody do that?
Yeah.
And I've never quite understood that. Well, I do understand it, but I don't understand it, if that makes any sense. Well, the Green New Deal is, it's even with watching you and then the gentleman that was on the opposite side of the opinion on the energy here in the United States was on after you with Tucker. And by the way, you did a much better job than he did. And I would have liked you to debate with him, because I think you could have took him. But, they don't even know what's going to be in the Green New Deal, but they're ready to spend all kinds of money. So we're back to this scenario where the Democrats say, first you have to pass it and then we'll read it.
Exactly.
And it makes absolutely no sense. And really, that goes against the American people.
Exactly. And I was kicking myself last night because I want to be a perfectionist and I always want to do better. And I forgot to mention probably the most important aspect of the Green New Deal when they say we're going to ban fossil fuels within 12 years. It's easy to focus on oil and gas and cars and planes, and that's what we did on the show last night. Mm-hmm. But what about petrochemicals, right? What about plastics and fiber insulation and carbon fiber bicycles? And I'm just looking around the living room right now, and I'm home, and I'm looking at the amount of products that come from petroleum, right? Even aspirin, right? And dishwashing detergent and the amount of things that we produce. And isn't it fascinating that scientists are so smart that they took this glop from under the ground and they've turned it into millions and millions of products that we've become so accustomed to? And where are we going to get the rubber for our tires, especially as we're in polar vortex season, right? Mm. And all of these things that come from petroleum products. So when they say ban fossil fuels in 12 years, How are we going to replace all of these millions of products? How?
You know, when you were on last night, and of course, then when you were off, I was telling my husband all the things that we have talked about on the air. And I said, I get a big kick. And I said, I'll never forget it because he said they can't even use their Sharpies, for their posters. And I said, it's all so true. And I'm looking around the kitchen and, I used to sell Tupperware, and I've got a good friend that sells it now. Tupperware. That's your plastic, your Rubbermaid, your plastic bags, everything that you use, your cell phones, your computers, everything has plastic in it. And sometimes I don't like plastic. Sometimes I wished it would go away. But they're trying to make us believe that straws are evil. And you didn't hear my opening, but I went back to a musical called Music Man, and he had to create a crisis to sell his band instruments. And that's what they do here. They create a crisis to sell their agendas.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm tired of the environmental left when they talk about how our lifestyle has brought on this climate crisis, because they do it with this connotation that somehow we're doing things that are inherently bad or immoral or evil. Like all we're doing is just opening up cans of oil and dumping it on our lawn. And they're forgetting about the fact that even if you want to say our lifestyle is 100% the reason why we have climate change, which I don't believe.
I don't.
But if you want to feed that argument, but aren't we also eradicating diseases, and aren't we lifting people out of poverty? Think of the little tiny things that the little shunts that they're putting in people's bodies to open up their valves that are made from plastic, right? What is that going to be made out of? Think of IV tubing and little tiny needles that are made from forged steel that comes from a coal-fired kiln, right? We're doing amazing things to increase our life and make the world a better place. I'm tired of people like Ms. Ocasio-Cortez trying to guilt us into thinking we're doing something bad. We're good people, and we have to stand up for ourselves.
Well, how many jobs would be lost? I mean, she did a video, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I saw this yesterday, telling us how important it was what pajamas you wore at night. Your leisurely clothes are important in what you wear and how they affect your emotions and how you think and your energy. And I'm thinking, I've said this and I'm sticking to it. She talks like a little girl because she has this little voice, but she logics like a teenager.
Yeah.
And she got elected, and that's scary. But how many jobs would be lost if they had their way?
Exactly. And don't let anyone tell you, as she does, and as the guy who was on after me last night on Tucker Carlson's show said, well, we'll think of all the green jobs that we will create, because our former president spent 8 years and literally $1 trillion trying to create green new jobs. And where are they? Where are all these green jobs that we created? There was an audit done by the Senate Committee on Investigation of the Obama program to train solar panel technicians, and they spent millions and millions of dollars and put thousands of people through the program. Great. They all got certified in solar panel repair. But when the class ended, do you know what the marketplace did not need? 30,000 solar repairmen, because there are no jobs. So
not like the Maytag guy, huh?
So we paid for the program, and now we pay their unemployment. We've double dipped into poverty, but Obama says we train 30,000 solar panel technicians who don't have work, right? And so this farce that we're going to create green new jobs, government can't create jobs ever.
No, never has.
So
no,
never has.
No, they don't produce anything; they extract.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they're going after the wealthy. You and I are probably safe, but they're going after the wealthy.
Safe.
They're going after the wealthy as they get wealthier. And I'm thinking, even this guy that's running that I don't care for, they said, well,
Schultz.
He doesn't like that. Yeah, the Starbucks guy. Yeah. He doesn't like it because he's wealthy. And I'm thinking, how many jobs has he produced? And how many jobs has Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris or Nancy Pelosi? How many jobs have they produced? What is it they produced for this nation?
And that's going to be Ms. Ocasio-Cortez's downfall, is her pride, because she says, well, how come I don't get held to the same scrutiny as the billionaire? Because the billionaire has created hundreds of thousands of jobs, and you haven't.
Well,
and
you and I
not
are
all
going to keep
equal in this
screaming it.
world.
You and I are going to keep talking about it.
Amen.
And we're going into a break. It was great to have you with me. I told Albert, I said, my husband, I said, he'll be with me tomorrow. He was with me before he's with Tucker.
Always, until the bitter end. Thank you, Beth Ann.
Well, let's not have a bitter end. We've had bitter cold. Let's bring in the springtime and grow some things. Thank you so much, Daniel. You have a fantastic weekend, okay?
Thank you. You do the same.